Thanks for joining. My name is Anil. I'm founder and CEO of Selfii. We're going to talk to you very quickly about a product that we're really excited to show you. We've been working on this for a very long time. There's more work to be done, but let us give you a glimpse into it. I think you'll really be excited. The topic for today is medical information is super valuable, but it's often kept locked away. So on the one hand, a lot of researchers, even patients, pharmaceutical companies, drug, clinical trials, everyone could really benefit if they had access to that information. And we have it. But like I said, it's locked away. No one's really been able to crack this problem. It's eluded most of us in technology for years. And the road to data access and personal health records, it's littered with dead bodies. But today we want to show you a new technology that combines the following. What if we could have access to medical information, but never actually see the medical information? So we could do all the interesting things without necessarily needing to see your personal health information, your PHI. That's what my colleague today, Gharib, is going to demonstrate to you. Gharib, can I turn it over to you?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Anil. And I'm going to quickly show you a demo of the TripleBlind Exchange. Before I jump into the demo here, just commenting quickly on what Anil has just said. Today, in order to share health data, we need to de-identify it first. De-identification happens in one of two ways. Either safe harbor, we delete 18 identifiers from the data, but unfortunately that makes the data useless. We lose a lot of fidelity of the data. The second way is an expert determination. And to de-identify the data with an expert determination today is time-consuming, could be expensive, it is done by human experts, which means does not scale. What if we can use all of that data without having to de-identify it? And this is exactly what I'm going to show you now. What you see in front of you is the landing page of the Selfii TripleBlind Exchange. The data users and the data providers can use this UI to share and exchange their healthcare data, and the top security and privacy preserving techniques that exist today in our entire world. So I'm going to play now the role of a clinical trial researcher or an investigator who's interested in learning whether or not there's patients across multiple data sources, specifically health information exchanges in this example, to find candidate patients for their clinical trial. Before that, this is the landing page of the TripleBlind Selfii Exchange. We have a comprehensive documentation targeted for both the system administrators, the system users, the manual, all kinds of operations that can be used, even has a lot of information about the privacy techniques that we support today. If you're interested in looking at the data sets that are accessible through the TripleBlind Exchange, you can come to the gallery. There's all kinds of different filtration techniques, or you can search for a data set by its name. As a data scientist, you know that in order to use a data set, you need to understand its characteristics. And this is exactly what you can see here. Through the gallery, data users could learn about the available data sets, their distributions, their characteristics, the type of columns that exist. For example, this is a data set that is coming from a fake or a demo data source called Black Hill EHR. We see the owning organization, the ID, and an asset ID. This is very important because it's really easy to use the ID of a dataset through our platform to access it. So all you need to do, for example, if you're interested in using this dataset, is to copy the ID, and I'll show you later how you can use this ID to use this dataset. All of the data that we see here is fake synthetic data that was generated for the sole purpose of the data user to understand the data, its distribution, and different characteristics. All of the information that we see here is generated using privacy-enhancing technologies, which means that it describes the data, it shows us the distribution of the data, but does not reveal real information about real patients. All right, so I have discovered the data set, and I know that there are multiple data sets similar to this one. I would like to find whether or not these data sets have patients that might be good candidates for our coming clinical trial. One of the features that we see here in the platform is called the report library. We click on the report library. There are different types of reports, pre-canned reports, that we can run against multiple data sources. In this example, I'm going to select one of the clinical trials. We go to the clinical trial matching page. We see a description for this specific clinical trial. The first thing as a data user I might be interested in is to specify what data sets I want to search for candidate patients. In this example, we have 2 demo HIEs that are actually linked to the platform, so I'm interested in both of them. I can specify the set of inclusion criteria and both inclusion and exclusion. I can use advanced medical code selectors, or I can use simple text or advanced selectors to specify the inclusion and exclusion criteria. There are other tabs at the top. I can see the previous outputs of the trials. I can see if I have an agreement with the data sources to run this specific clinical trial, or I might post questions that are answered by the developers of this set of inclusion and exclusion criteria. For simplicity, I'm going to rerun one of the previous clinical trials. We see all the parameters that were included here, and I'll hit run. Remember, I am trying to find candidates that are suitable for my clinical trial from 2 different data sources, or 2 fake HIEs. We see now, or demo HIEs, we see now that my request was sent, it is calculating, and very soon, very shortly, we have produced an asset here. I'm going to download this asset to my computer, but before I show you the results, I want to take 20 seconds to explain what happened here. I logged into the Selfii TripleBlind Exchange UI, and I was able to specify a set of inclusion and exclusion criteria for my clinical trial, simply with a very beautiful, intuitive UI. I included all of these criteria, and I ran it. When I ran this inclusion criteria, the TripleBlind Exchange took my specification, sent them to 2 different data sources, represent 2 different organizations, and in reality, those demo HIEs that we have are actually sitting on 2 different servers and 2 different clouds, have different types of data. Those data sources could also use different databases. And what our technology did, it took the specification of the clinical trial, federated it to 2 different organizations, ran it locally in a privacy-preserving way, generated a set of results, and shipped them back to the researcher. So as a researcher, I can now take a look at the outputs of this clinical trial, and I'm going to get account results. I realized that the first HIE, which I have specified in my search in eTech, has 48 patients, and Acme HIE has 57 patients, these patients that qualify for my clinical trial. Now I can see the results. There's other piece of information here that was also generated and sent to the HIEs, which are the patients that actually match. And the HIEs now can play the champion with these patients or reach to their physicians to let them know about the upcoming clinical trial that could actually save their lives. Every operation that happened within the TripleBlind Selfii Exchange is actually recorded. We can see the assets that we ran. There is a complete auditing system. This auditing system provides is also signed and verified cryptographically. There's agreements that gives the data owners and the data users a way to facilitate the creation of digital rights management system. It specifically can be used to select the data sets that we can access, who can access them, for when or for what specific operation. Our platform supports a wide range of operations, not just running queries, but training AI models, counting things, training conventional machine learning models, or simply defining cohorts and counting things. The request here, for example, shows if somebody is interested in my data set, this request will appear here and will facilitate the communication between organizations for exchanging data. Selfii provides a complete list of digital rights management system, as I mentioned before. We can see here how we can generate teams. Every team member can have a different role or rule-based access. We can check the health of our data sets and our systems within the access point infrastructure. You can see the memory usage and the detailed log system as well. Everything can be run from the UI. We can also provide an SDK that is Python-based. We build a platform with an AI or a data-first approach. This means all the privacy-enhancing technologies are encapsulated from the end user, and we provide an intuitive interface to run most of these operations. On the left, we see that you can bookmark datasets and algorithms. You can run other advanced processes from the UI and see all of their history. We also provide notebooks, which is a benchmark from the browser that allows advanced users to actually run more advanced queries or train AI models, all from the browser. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or the rest of team members.
Gharib, before we go, if I may, I'd like to summarize and just check something with you. Let's use pharmaceutical companies. Let's use their drug development process. On the front end, there are clinical trials before the drug goes in. On the back end, there's drugs, and we need to match them with appropriate patients. Are you saying that, for example, a pharmaceutical company could put in some search parameters? We call them that. They call them inclusion-exclusion for a clinical trial. Put in those parameters using the code sets that everyone uses in the US to encode, let's say, heart attack. And then we issue these searches, these queries, but we issue them across, in this case, the synthetic HIE network of the US. And those queries go behind the firewall and they find patients, but they never see the PHI. And so there's no HIPAA violation, there's no GDPR, there's no PHI that's ever seen. But the result of the query comes back and tells the pharmaceutical company, for example, you know, those 15 inclusion-exclusion parameters that you wanted, there's 48 people in this region and 57 people in that region, and they can do this without any HIPAA and GDPR concerns, and we can do this in 2025. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. This is exactly what I just demonstrated, and thanks for summarizing it.
Thanks, folks. We appreciate you enjoyed it. It is magic, and it's coming in 2025.
Thank you all for being here. Bye.